Jones.
Giving my best. I wonder if I'm good now. Should I stay? Should I go? I don't know.
What's going on, family? This is G the teacher. I'm here, and I had something on my mind, man, that I really want to share with everybody. A personal situation that led to me having to write some things down, man, because this thing was just like on my heart, on my spirit, on my soul, and I had to get it out, man. So I really want to let you guys know about this particular thing. So basically, what happened was the other day, and I was trying to provide for my family. We get hungry, so I had to go get something to eat for them. And when doing that, I get paid just like anyone else, man. I work hard. I teach for a living. So with my hard-earned money, I wanted to patronize a black business, a black restaurant in particular. Now, for those of you who have tried or have went down this road, we sometimes can find it a bit arduous. We can find it a bit challenging, okay, to find a black business, especially a reputable one, and especially one that will give you great service. So I went on the search for one, and I searched, and I got in my car, and I was driving, and I drove, and I drove, and I drove, and I drove for about 35 minutes, and I could not find out one black business in I would say about a 15 square mile range, okay? It was quite depressing, okay? And anyone knows when you have intent to do something and that intent is not fulfilled, it leaves you empty inside. And so that's how I felt, man. So I just had to put together, a presentation or to write some things down about this so we could kind of really try to tackle this situation. Where are all the black businesses? Like, where y'all at? Like, where we at? I'm still wondering, I'm looking, I'm searching, I'm asking people, what's going on, man? Why the lack of black business owners and businesses in America? Now, I want to hear feedback because I'm in Baton Rouge, okay? I'm down south, and I want to know if it's like this everywhere. I got to know this, because I could just be in a vacuum down here, and this could just be indigenous or just for my location. So I really got to know this, okay? So basically, where we at? Where are the black businesses? So here's what I think, all right? Be sure to leave your comments and let me know what you think. But here's what I think, okay? I think that there are many black businesses or people with business potential that are afraid to succeed. Some may say, well, it's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. Or what if I lose everything? And see, I believe it's a reason why we collectively as a people, meaning black people, why we think that way. And it goes back to slavery, but also remember that we did not start with slavery. That's a key thing to remember. We had great kingdoms and civilizations before slavery, okay? Slavery came way later. We have been on this earth for thousands and thousands of years doing great things with great trade and great kingdoms. So the problem, though, goes back to slavery. And who knew about all of the interworkings of the slave plantation? Blacks did, because we ran the slavery, okay? We ran, not the slavery, but we ran the plantation, okay? So what happened was, and a little known fact, that a lot of these slaves, they owned their own businesses while in slavery on the plantation. They were so good at what they did to where the slave owner had to recognize that, we have to use this because it uses skills because it's lucrative. So a lot of the slaves had their own businesses that sold to other whites in the area from the plantation, and they end up buying their own freedom. Okay. So the same is true today in our times. If more African Americans are to buy their financial freedom, they must become entrepreneurs in their own way and have their own means of production. Okay, we got to own our own means of production. Does anybody know the unemployment rate nationally? All right, think about it for a second. What's the unemployment rate? Unemployment rate nationally is 5.7%. Okay, The unemployment rate for blacks is 11.4%. Let me say it again. The unemployment rate nationally for all races, everyone in America, is 5.7%. Right? For blacks, it's 11.4%. For whites right now, it's 5.3%. Now, here's my question, and just something to think about. We don't even make up half of society in America. Matter of fact, we only make up like 13% of society. So how is our unemployment rate higher? Okay, here's what I think. What does that tell me? It tells me that many African Americans depend on sources other than themselves to provide for them. And many of us are simply too afraid to step out into the business world and create employment for ourselves. If we stop asking for handouts and become more self-sustaining, more money will circulate within our communities, and thus making America, the United States of America, a better place. Okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, yeah, right, dude. Like, I'm just gonna go start a business. Like, how am I gonna do it? Like, how am I gonna make my own clothes and make my own food and, make everything for myself and provide myself on my own transportation? How am I gonna do that? Well, I'm gonna let you know how you're gonna do it. Okay? Now, I'm not saying quit your job and just do everything like that and just go off the deep end. I'm not saying that, but hopefully this can give you some inspiration. I'm gonna give you some history of some great African people, great blacks who did their thing and actually brought themselves up out of it. And if they did it during slavery, I know that you can do it now. Okay, they did this during slavery. They were enslaved. I just told you about the entrepreneurs that were on the plantation. If they can do it, you can do it. Okay, so I'm tired of hearing about I can't do this, can't do that. You can do it. You just have to put the intent out there, and you just have to make it happen. Okay, so here's some black business owners back at that time. Some notable ones. First, you have John E. Bruce. Okay, his name was Bruce Gritt. Lived in 1856 to 1924. He's from New York, born a slave in Georgia. Fled to Washington, D.C. with his mother. He attended the Howard University, HBCU all day. At 18, he worked for the New York Times. Back in the day. Now, New York Times is a somewhat, I'd just say, biased paper now. And he worked for the New York Times back in the day, back in the 1800s, at age 18. He founded his own newspaper, and he also owned several newspapers, such as the Argus Weekly, Sunday Item, and the Republican in the late 1800s. He was the president of the Fortune's Afro-American League, the first nationally recognized league for African Americans in the U.S. Okay, so he did his thing. Okay, and this was back in the day. Let me give you somebody else. John and Luther Williams. All right, this is for the black family. So you know how they try and we have the show like Empire. And Empire is like showing you what the prototypical black family, in order to be successful, what you have to do. Not to mention, they're not even talking about the empires we had, back in Kush, back in, Kemet, the Moors, the Dogon, the Zulu. They're not talking about any of those empires, okay? We're talking about rap. Now, I love rap, okay? I'm a rapper. But come on, man. Empire, we don't own none of that stuff, okay? And they showing you on the television show, but I digress from that, okay? So let me show you who the real empire is, or a real empire that was built here in the country by blacks. John and Luther Williams lived in Greenwood, Oklahoma, which was the home of Black Wall Street, or Little Africa. Please go research Black Wall Street, Little Africa. It is mind-blowing. It is a real event. It actually happened, and we need to know about this, because that's really the reason why there are no black businesses, okay? That was a huge point in history. Please go look that up, Black Wall Street. But John and Louisa Williams, they own several businesses. John Williams was a skilled mechanic whose business serviced many black and white customers. Okay? With the profits the couple made at the auto shop, the couple constructed a 3-story building with a popular confectionery candy store on level 1, upscale apartments on level 2, and rentable office space on level 3, usually occupied by black attorneys and law firms. With the profits from their tri-level establishment, Luther created, which is the wife, all right, so woman power right here, right here, okay? She created and ran a prominent theater chain called Williams Dreamland Theaters. The community enjoyed silent films and live plays and musicals. It could seat 750 people. Now, this is the prototypical back in the day. If you want the prototypical family working together, black man, black woman working together, both successful, okay, but doing it in the correct way, just as their ancestors did in the ancient African empires, tapping into that and doing it the correct way, that's the key right there. You got to work together, okay? So we got to build that family up. Next, we talk about black on black crime, but just remember, black on black shines. This is Simon Berry and James Lee, two brothers who made it happen. They also lived in Greenwood, Oklahoma, or Black Wall Street. They founded and operated an airplane charter, which is an airplane rental service. The service was patronized by both black and white businessmen. They owned 7 planes, while the entire state of Oklahoma at the time only had 2 airports. Businessmen were taken to their destinations with Simon Berry as their pilot. So he ran his own company. Both of them ran their own company. And Simon, not only did he own the planes for the people to ride on, he was the pilot as well. So he made money both ways. All right. Then we have Oscar Micheaux. He was the first nationally known black filmmaker. He made 44 films. He started his own production company and sold shares to stockholders. So he was on the stock market with his own production company. Okay? How many of our black actors even think to have their own production company? The Rock, he does. He has his own. He just started his own. But I don't even know sometimes if The Rock even believes he's black. He's definitely black. Dwayne Johnson, you know he's black. All right. So much love, Rock. I do watch all of your movies. I love you. But I think we need to get that out there a little bit more about your nationality. Next, Horace King. Born into slavery in the early 1800s, at age 40, he bought his freedom and became the most prominent bridge builder of the 19th century. He was a member of the Alabama House of Representatives. Hold up. A black man born into slavery ended up buying his way out of slavery, building most of the bridges in Alabama, or in the South, period. Okay? He was a great architect. They say even the greatest architect of the 19th century, which is saying a lot. And he eventually became a member of the Alabama Congress of the House of Representatives, a black man. Okay? So these are just a few of the people who could possibly give you some inspiration, because we need some inspiration right now. We can't be afraid anymore, people. Okay? All right, so a couple of things. We're just going to do some perspective by the numbers. When slavery ended, okay, African Americans owned about 1% of all businesses. Today, we own roughly 10% of all the businesses, which is like 1.9 million, okay? But check this out. Is this an improvement, or is this just status quo? Okay? Now, this is an improvement, but what's often not mentioned is that most of these businesses that blacks own are churches and nonprofit organizations. So subtract the churches and the nonprofits from the total number of black businesses. That leaves us roughly with 1 million businesses owned by blacks. You analyze that with the 30 million businesses owned in America. African Americans own about 3% of all businesses in America. So in 150 some odd years, we have only jumped up 2% as far as the number of businesses we own. And the number of businesses that we own, as you can see, aren't really revenue generating businesses. They generate revenue for certain people in those positions. For instance, churches with pastors, nonprofits with some of the high ranking members of the nonprofits, but not far stretching salary generators for large quantities of people. Okay? So that's a problem, and we need to realize that. So shout out to all the businesses right now who I go to, who I represent for. All the barbershops I go to, because I hop around. I don't just go to one. I want to make sure I spread the wealth. All of the places, in town, all the food places, the clothing stores that are black owned, man, that I patronize, man. I want to thank you so much. But we need businesses, man. We need dry cleaners, man. We need restaurants. We need medical. We need more doctors, black-owned doctors that own their own. They don't work for the big conglomerate clinics, that own their own practice, okay? And so we can patronize them and the money goes directly to them. We need gas stations, man. Why do only a certain group of people own gas stations, man? Why can't we own gas stations? And to my African brothers who do come over and who do get them, we got to start working together, man, because we are linked. I am your brother. I am your cousin. We are linked. So, we need more of those, man. We need grocery stores, man. We need some things that actually matter. And I think that's what I'm getting at right now. So if I could have one thing, man, that I could just say in closing, it would be that I like to leave you with this. A quote from who I believe is the greatest black leader of the 20th century. Really the greatest black leader that we've had in modern times. Okay? And it reads, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Let me say that again. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. I want to thank y'all for listening in today, man. I'll be back with one. Make sure y'all tune in. It's G the Teacher, man, signing off. Please, black businesses, leave your comments. Okay, no matter what city you're at, no matter what part of the world you're in, please leave your comments, man, so that when I'm out and about, I can patronize you. I love all my businesses. I love my white businesses. I love my Arab business. I do, okay, because we all need to circulate the money. But whenever I want to, because I have that right as a human, when I want to patronize a black business, it should be one available for me to patronize, all right? So let's come together, y'all. Let's do this, man. This is G the Teacher signing off, man. You always know what I say. You just heard it. Peace.
Jones. Should I stay? Should I stay? Should I? Should I stay? Should I stay? Should I?